So the next feature of society that we are going to discuss is family. Now, before we jump into the topic, I just want to give you a heads up what all we are going to understand. One is we'll look at the definition of family. Then we will see what is the function of a family. What is the structure of a family? Within a family, there exists a specific kind of a structure. Also, we'll try to figure out what are the different types of family. Now, as the society is changing, as economy is changing, society is changing, the function as well as the structure of the family is also changing. So, what are the factors bringing in these changes and which direction this change is there? And what are the results of this change? We'll try to look at that. Then we will see what are some of the unique features of Indian family, or where does the Indian family stand? What is the size of the Indian family? Is it increasing, decreasing? How is the structure of the Indian family changing? Some of the trends that we might have seen world over might not be the same in case of India. So all these things we are going to look at in the next few minutes. But before that, I want you to think about it. I want you to reflect. What is the meaning of family? All of us are part of families. Some of you might have also created your own family. Now, when this term family is used, what do you infer or what do you interpret? How do you interpret it? What you can do is you can just maybe pause this video for 60 seconds, give it a thought. In this way, your understanding of family might be better. And when you're thinking about it, right, look at the different dimensions, look at the different functions, look at the different possible structures that are existing within the institution of family. So let's look at the formal definition of family. Now, the definition that I'm going to talk about, this is something which is based on a sociologist's study of around 250 different societies. Both he studied developed societies, emerging societies or underdeveloped societies, tribal societies. And from that, he is coming up with a definition of family. So a family is a social group characterized by common residence, economic cooperation, and reproduction. It includes adults of both sexes, at least two of whom maintain a socially approved sexual relationship, and they have one or more children. This is the formal definition of family based on the observation in somewhere around more than 250 societies. Let's look at each of these things one by one. According to it, a family has to stay together and they are having some common residence. Usually that's the case. Families, they will have a house. It might be their own house. They might have rented it out. So there is a common residence. There is some form of economic cooperation. Different family members, they perform different kind of activities. Some of the family members might be going outside and working. They're earning money. Some other members, they might be carrying out different kinds of functions within the family, different kinds of work within the family, different kinds of tasks, cooking, cleaning, etc. And then there are some members who need not necessarily be carrying out any activity. They're just using the resources which are earned by someone else, maybe especially the children, the elderly. So there is some form of economic cooperation within the institution of family. Reproduction also happens within family. Certain kinds of biological activities are carried out. Reproduction is one of them. It from one generation to another. Families includes adult from both the sexes. Male members are there as well as female members are there. Also, within family, there are at least two who maintain socially approved sexual relationships. Now, society might sanction or society might approve certain kind of social relationships, certain kind of sexual relationships society might not approve. Typically, that is the case. But within the family, you have some members, if they are having sexual relationship, society is okay with it. Society is approving that. So basically, those who are married, the sexual relationship between them, society usually approves. And then family also constitutes of children, right? It can be one child, it can be multiple children. So this is how the family looks like in most of the societies. Now, as I was reading out this particular definition, you would have already had different questions, right? That this is how maybe families exist or have existed, but all these things are also varying. In fact, there will be many exceptions to this particular model that you see. For example, it says that it includes adult of both sexes. Maybe you have families in which this is not the case. Maybe you have families where the adult is only from one sex. That is also possible, right? So there are some families where maybe two men, they have adopted a child maybe, or two females who have adopted a child maybe. So, or maybe there are families where only you have a single mom or a single dad. So that will not fall under this particular definition. Apart from that, there might be families where the children, the kind of relationship they have with the parents might be different. There are certain kinds of societies, for example, kibbutz. Here, the entire community is responsible for bringing up the children. So again, they will not fall under this particular kind of definition that we are talking about. Right, so there will be different kinds of variations to that. Common residence might not be applicable. In fact, in the present circumstances, maybe the husband and wife, they're staying in some separate places because their job requires them to be staying in different places. So maybe common residence also is not equally applicable. Again, what is socially approved, it can also vary from society to societies. Also, the norms related to sexual relations, sexual reproduction, all these things are changing over a period of time. So this is something which is kind of a traditional definition of family, but over a period of time, the idea of family is also gradually evolving, and there are many exceptions to this particular traditional definition that we see. Now, building on it, if we have to understand family better, what we can do is maybe we can look at some of the common features of family, some of the common characteristics of family. Right? Most likely these are the features which exist for families. So let's look at that. So McIver and Page, again sociologists, they are trying to look at some underlying features of family. What they're saying is family is a universal institution. Anywhere you go world over, you will find the institution of family. It is something which is universal in nature. Second thing they're identifying is within family, there are strong bonds. There is affinity. People are held together on emotional basis. Affection is there, affinity is there. So some emotional bond is there between family members. That's true. Families, they support each other, right? The different family members, they're together whenever there is any requirement. They provide some form of warmth, psychological support. Family has limited size. It's not infinite. It has a limited size. In fact, families are the smallest social unit. If you divide societies, or if you think of societies as composed of different units, society might be composed of large social units. For example, religion or nationality, they're all large social units, have huge membership. Caste, Gotra, a huge membership. People who speak same language, huge membership. Tribes, again large. All these social units can be further broken down. And family is that smallest social unit. So it has some limited size. Family has a very significant position. It is kind of a nuclei. Family has a very significant role to play. Family plays the most significant role when it comes to socialization. Few minutes back, not minutes, some time back, when we began this session, we saw how society has an influence over individuals. How different kinds of norms, values of the society, over a period of time, the individual acquires these norms and values. How it happens through the process of socialization. Which institution in family plays a very significant role in socialization? The institution of family. When a child is born, the child is blank slate. Doesn't know about any social values, norms, does not know what religion he is part of, what caste he is part of, does not know the language. It is the institution of family which inculcates all these things. Over a period of time, other institutions also play a role, education institutions, other institutions, but the first and the primary institution is the institution of family in socialization. Within family, different kinds of roles are also assigned, different kinds of duties are also assigned. So different family members, they have different responsibility towards one another. Parents, they have certain obligations towards their children. The children, when they also might have certain obligations towards their parents. As they grow old, Parents grow old. The children should take care of the parents. So different kinds of responsibilities are there. The roles and duties are assigned. And lastly, within family, regulation also happens. Within family, different kinds of rules and regulations are also created. Apart from that, there might be certain kinds of norms outside. The family inculcates these norms within. So this helps in regulating the society. For example, one of the values that might be inculcated is you should respect others. You should talk nicely with others. You should not show violent behavior towards others. So this way society also gets regulated. Members within the family, they get these ideas, these values, they also follow it outside. Social regulation happens. Another way to have social regulation is have a constitution, law. These are all external mechanisms. But here, from within, things are changing. The society is changing. So these are some unique features of the institution of family. What we will do now is we'll try to understand the different types of family that we have. Right? So that way we can classify families, and if you understand the type of families, some of the features of Indian society, you can link it with that. Maybe some of the features can be linked to the kind of families that we have. So let's first divide families into different types, classify families. One way to do it is this. The family that you are born in, that is called the family of orientation. So the family that you are born into, that's a family of orientation. It consists of you, your parents, your siblings, right? Father, mother, brother, sister, and you. That's the family of orientation. But you might start your own family. Some of you might have already started their own families. You might have got married to someone. You might have decided to have children with someone, or you along with your spouse might have decided that you will be adopting someone. So the family that you have created, that is family of procreation. Includes you, your spouse, might be your wife, your husband, might be your son or daughter. And again, they might be your biological children, or they might be adopted children. So this is also something which is important. A family can be formed through blood ties. Right? You are born into a particular family. That's a blood tie. Family is also formed through marital ties. When you marry someone, you are creating a family. Also, family is formed through adoption. You might adopt someone. Again, a person adopts someone, they now form a family. So, family of orientation, family of procreation. Every individual can have or can be part of two families. One family that he or she is born into, another family that he or she is creating. Another way to look at family, or different multiple ways to look at families. One way to think of family is on the basis of residence. After the marriage, whether the groom goes to the bride's place, in some places in India, the groom might goes to the bride place. So that kind of a family is a matrilocal family. But mostly what happens in the Indian context, it is the bride which goes to the groom's place. That is patrilocal family. If the groom goes to the bride's place, it is matrilocal family. If the bride goes to the groom's place, that is patrilocal family. If both of them decide that they will not go to each other's place and they will set up their own family, they will have their own place of residence, then it is called neolocal family. So mostly in India, we have patrilocal setups. In present times, again, we are seeing some shift towards neolocal setups. There are exceptions though. In some cases, the groom can go to the bride's place. These are all matrilocal setups. Among some tribal communities, Garos, Khasis, this might be prevalent. Another way to think of family is how is authority distributed? Who holds power? Who takes decisions within the family? Is it the male members? Is it the female members? How is it? Most likely in India, it is the male members who hold authority, who have the power. So we have what is called as patriarchal families. Patriarchal family means it is the male members who have the authority. Sometimes there might be exceptions where female members might have power. Khasis, Garos, right, Nayars, right? But that is exception. Not mostly in case of India, you will have patriarchal setups. Lineage. If you have to trace your lineage, if you look at the surnames, how is it? Does it follow the male members or does it follow the female members? Most likely it is a male members. Your surname will be your father's surname. Your father's surname will be your grandfather's surname. That is patrilineal descent. If it follows the female line, it will be matrilineal descent. So from this you can observe one thing, that in case of India, mostly we have patrilocal setup, patriarchal and patrilineal setup. Some exceptions can be there, but again, very few community societies in India will have matrilocal or matriarchal setup. Another way to think of families is in terms of size. If at max 2 generations are staying together, it is a nuclear family. If more than 2 generations are staying together, it is a joint family. The size is another way by which you can classify families. Now, I just want to, you might be wondering, why are we looking at all these terms and all, right? I just want to give you an example. See, if in case of India, what is the case? We have mostly patrilocal, patriarchal, patrilineal family. How does it impact the position of women? When a female is getting married, since it's a patrilocal setup, she is moving to a new household, right? Completely to a new family. And in that family, since the authority structure is such that it is the male members who will be the ones who will have authority, so she will not have any authority. And it is also patrilineal. So she is now becoming part of some other family altogether. She is losing out on her surname as well. She is in a new place. She does not have any say. She will not be also inheriting the property. Property is again inherited through the male line. What will be the impact on women in this case? So the female is extremely vulnerable. Right? She does not have enough power, enough say. And she is in a completely new place. So she will not even have those support systems. Right? She will not have that informal network around her. Which again leads to multiple issues, right? It can lead to domestic violence, it can lead to different kinds of abuse. So, understanding the type of families can help you understand the different dynamics within society. That's why we do all these kind of classifications. So, this is about the different types of family. The next thing we'll try to explore is the function that family carries out. What does family do? What are the different kinds of functions that happen within the family? So again, here you can see on the screen, there are different thinkers who have been referred to. You don't need to remember the name of the thinkers, but what they are saying, that is more important. What kind of functions happen within the family? Families perform certain biological functions. Within family, certain biological functions are carried out. One of the biological need is sexual need. Sexual gratification is important. So within family, or families provide that avenue for sexual gratification. Also, within family, reproduction is carried out. Socially approved reproduction. In fact, many societies, if sexual reproduction is not happening within family, society might not approve. So some form of legitimation happens through the institution of family. Again, I'm not talking about all societies. I'm saying in some societies this might be the case. But if reproduction is happening within the family, society definitely approves. Apart from that, family helps in different kinds of economic activities. It performs different economic functions. Different kind of economic functions it performs. Production, consumption, distribution. If you look at traditional societies, agrarian societies, where all people are engaged in agriculture. So the family performs agrarian activities, right? They're all practicing agriculture. Young ones are taught how to take up agriculture, how to learn different kind of things that they have to carry out in agriculture. So the elder members will be teaching the younger ones. And again, the younger ones will take up profession. So they are engaged in production. Families also consume different kinds of goods and services. Apart from that, within family, distribution also happens. Some members, they're more capable. They are the ones who are earning money. Other members who are not as capable, they are the ones who are getting resources, or the resources which are earned by the more capable members are distributed to the less capable members, maybe the younger ones, maybe the elderly. So all these economic functions are also carried out. Just imagine if there is no institution of family. Younger ones will not get food, elderly will not get food if family does not exist, because they might be less capable. Right? They might not have enough energy. Also, family socializes children. This is something we already talked about. Whatever values, norms are there in the larger society, all these things are transmitted to the children, and children become socialized. They get to know about the existing values, norms, which again will have a different role to play. Another way to look at family: emotional functions, affectional functions within family. Family members hold each other's back whenever there is a need. They help each other out. They provide psychological support. They provide that warmth. Economic functions, as I already mentioned, production, consumption, distribution happens. Recreational functions. Families, they come together, they celebrate different kinds of festivals. In fact, not just festivals. You might have seen how family comes together in different functions, right? Marriage or birthdays, right? They celebrate it together. The grandfather, grandmother, they might be telling stories to the younger ones, to the grandchildren. All these are recreational functions. Protective functions. Family also protects its members from different kind of threats. At this point of time, we have different other institutions which also protect us, police, judiciary, etc. But in the past, like look at traditional societies, maybe at that point of time, nation states would not have developed, law and order machinery would not have developed. At that point of time, the families would have fended for themselves. They would have protected themselves from different kinds of external threats. Religious functions are also carried out. Family imparts religious training to its members. When a child is born, the child does not know which religion he belongs to or she belongs to, what are the different kind of religious activities she has to carry out, what are the different kinds of beliefs, practices he has to follow. But the family does that. Religion gets transmitted from one generation to another through the institution of family. Also, family performs different educational functions. In the present society, in urban societies, modern societies, role of family in imparting education is less limited. But in traditional societies, it was the family which was imparting education. Mostly people will be engaged in agriculture. Where will they learn agriculture? Where will they learn farming activities? The elder members of the family who were experts in agriculture, they will teach different kinds of methods to the younger ones. Now things might have changed. Schools, colleges, etc. perform this role. So these are different functions of family. Now, do you only have functions, or there are also some disruptive effects of family? Some thinkers, some researchers, they will say yes, family carries out all these functions: psychological functions, biological functions, social functions. But at the same time, families might have some disruptive impact. Have you thought about it? So, what are these disruptive impacts? What are these dysfunctions? We look at each of these things one by one. Again, I have mentioned the name of the thinkers who have come up with these concepts. If you want to explore further, you can just search and you can find it more. First is, Morgan says, families are not as harmonious as you expect them to be. Just now we are saying, right, within family you get some form of emotional strength. Families hold each other back whenever there is a need. But Morgan says no, families are not necessarily as harmonious as it is depicted to be. Within families you will have different kind of conflicts. In some cases, there are instances where parents might be abusive towards their children. There might be instances where there is intimate partner violence. The male member, the husband is afflicting different kinds of abuse on the wife. Continuous fights might be there within families. So they're not as harmonious as it is depicted to be. Families are ideological conditioning device. This is what some Marxists will talk about. They will say that it is through family ideology is imparted. People are conditioned. The next generation is conditioned. The next generation, they're socialized. Different kinds of values are imparted. And when different kind of values are imparted to individuals, to these young ones, they also start thinking in the same way. If everyone starts thinking in the same way, what happens? Innovation gets impacted. People's creative ability is lost. Everyone is thinking thinking like each other. They're thinking the same. They're not thinking out of the box maybe. So individual freedom, self-development, all these things gets hindered because of the process of socialization. Existing social norms imparted to everyone. Everyone is thinking alike. Another group of thinkers, they say family leads to isolation from the larger society. Families, they're all small units. They're the smallest social unit. Each family, they are just focusing on one another, whoever is part of that family. They are forming small hurdles and they are within that hurdle. They're just emotionally dependent on one another. They're not integrated with the larger society. The bonds between people might not exist as strongly. The bonds between the members of the family, that is strong. So a family gets isolated from the larger society. Some feminist thinkers like M. Benstrom, they have another perspective. They point out that it is the institution of family which is perpetuating unpaid labor. Men and women both are working. Men work outside and they're making money. Women, they're working, but they're working within the family and they're not getting paid for it. So the kind of institution that family is, unpaid labor is perpetuated. So women are working, but they're not getting paid. And since they're not getting paid, their presence or their contribution is not recognized. Right? It is said that women are not working, but actually they're working. Just the difference is they're not getting paid for the work they are performing. Norman Bell says that many times the institution of family has deeper impact on the children. Children are made scapegoats by their parents. The parents might be frustrated. They might have had some ambitions. They could not achieve it. They're frustrated because of that. And they're taking out that frustration on the younger ones. You might have seen these in some of the movies also, Bollywood movies. Parents, they had some aspirations, they could not fulfill it. They wanted to become so and so, they could not. Now, they want their children to become that. And for that, they're putting a lot of pressure on the child. As a result of which, the child is getting impacted. So, many times parents, or there are many instances where parents might vent out their frustration. This is what Norman Bell points out. So, these are all disruptive or dysfunctional aspects of the institution of family. So, there are some positive impacts, the functions, and then there are some of these dysfunctions. Now, let's move to the next part. How does the function of the family change over a period of time? Till now, we have been saying, okay, these are the functions, these are the dysfunctions. But has the function of family got impacted with the changing norms of the society, maybe with changing economy, with changing technology? How has the function of family evolved or changed over a period of time? One thing we mentioned was family plays a role in social control. Family plays a role when it comes to protecting its member, the protective function. But the role of family when it comes to social control has actually gone down. Now we have modern nation states. You have law and order mechanisms, police, judiciary. So police, judiciary, rule of law, right? So these are the things which are ensuring protection. So when it comes to social control, the role of family has actually gone down. What about production functions? What about economic placement? In the past, it was the family which was producing. Family is producing different kinds of crops, different kinds of agriculture production it is into, and they are consuming it. But now it is not the case, right? Someone is producing it for the markets. The farmers are producing for the markets, and others, they're consuming it. So the role of family when it comes to production, it has also gone down. Placement, in the past, it is the family members who will be training the young ones so that the young ones will get placed within the family. Or they will be getting placed in agriculture and they will be performing the different production functions. But now that placement function, again, family's role is limited. Now you have division of labor. The entire economy, it's extremely specialized. Different kinds of tasks have to be carried out. Each task requires different kind of skills. So now people go for specialized education. They will go to schools, they will complete their schooling education, then they will go for colleges, they will complete that. And again, depending on the skills that they have acquired over a period of time, they will get placed. So division of labor is facilitating employment. Role of families when it comes to economic placement has gone down. Markets are playing that role. What about social welfare? What is the role of family in social welfare? In the past, families used to provide for this. If within the family, someone is falling sick, the family will take care of it. If within the family, there is some form of disability, again, the family used to take care of that person. If someone loses, let's say a female loses her spouse, the extended family will take care of her. Now, I'm not saying now family doesn't do all these things. What I'm saying is now we have specialized institutions which might be doing all these things. For example, many states are now welfare state. India is also considered to be a welfare state. So, different states now have different institutions. In some places, you might get different kinds of pension schemes. If someone becomes disabled because of whatever reason, the state might pitch in and they will provide that person some form of disability benefits, maybe some form of pension. Widow pension might also be there. In India also we have, again the quantum is less, but it is there. So the point is, when it comes to welfare, again the role of family has gone down as compared to what it was in the past. You have specialized institutions which are performing these roles. So these are some changes. What we'll do is we'll look at some more changes. This is what has been extensively studied by thinkers like Horton and Hunt. What they do is they look at multiple functions and they analyze whether the role of family has gone down along these lines or it has increased along these lines or it has remained more or less same. When it comes to economic functions, the role of family has definitely gone down. Family is not necessarily engaged in economic production right now. They're mostly involved in consumption and distribution. Sexual regulations. Nowadays, sexual regulation has also gone down. Right? So, not necessarily society approves only those sexual relations which happens after marriage. Right? Premarital sexual relations are also more acceptable as compared to what it was in the past. The role of family when it comes to reproductive functions, that has also declined. Right? So there can be people who can decide to have a child, a biological child, without entering into the institution of marriage, without forming a formal family, so as to say. So there has been a slight decline. When it comes to socialization, the role of family is still important. It might have even become more significant over a period of time. When it comes to companionship, effective role, again, the role of family remains intact, might have become even stronger. In fact, some thinkers, they will say that over a period of time, this has become even stronger with industrialization. Parents now devote a lot of time to their child. In the past, you had large families, right? So you had joint families. So when it comes to socialization of the child, many members of the family will be involved. Grandparents, uncles, aunties, etc. Because a child was the child of the entire large family. Now you have nuclear families, husband, wife and their children, most likely. So lot of time, effort, these two people have to spend. Large part of their time and effort they have to spend on these kids. So now we have more child-centric family. So the role of socialization function, companionship, all these things have become important. Physical protection function, again, to a large extent it has declined because you now have the institution of police, the institution of judiciary, law and order mechanism is there, rule of law is there. So these are some broad changes in the function of family.